Shut up and sit down.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hapler, and Jake Von During. Hey yo, summer check. While they do their TikTok snappy chat checking, I'll be checking out of this place. Later, homies.
I enjoy riding my bike.
I mean, if you think about it, LaCroix, it's just a virgin White Claw.
And when I'm riding, everything seems alright. Everything seems alright.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
Don't have to worry.
Yeah, I don't really know what seltzer means, but it sounds rich.
I know pollution. If we run out, I guess I'll still make out a ride.
You know what it tastes like? Nothing.
And I enjoy riding my bike. And when I'm riding, everything seems alright. Everything seems alright.
But you know what cured my indoor kid disease? My mother. Don't come inside till the sun's down.
Hi, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and I'm here with Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys are looking distant. I'm looking across the table, and I'm seeing nothing.
Nobody's there for you to stare into the deep baby blue eyes, Matt. I'm sorry.
It's the stash that I stare into.
To his left, Evan Price.
What are we all drinking today? But, you know, Lance isn't here, so I guess we can distantly ask him, but
Yep.
yeah.
LaCroix.
I'm drinking LaCroix like everybody else.
Oh, that's
Tangerine.
good. Tangerine.
Hibiscus LaCroix.
I'm drinking Buble.
Buble.
Mm-hmm. Strawberry, I think. Strawberry.
Matt's
Matt's got key lime over there.
Key lime.
Yeah.
And coming to you via Skype, Lance Epler.
Lance Romance coming at you from location,
On
not
location.
live. Well, I don't know what it is. Whatever.
It's live.
I am
on
in.
location.
I'm in Utah. I'm sitting in Moab, Utah, right now, next to a city park that has decent cell service and some shade because it's 100 degrees at 1 o'clock in the afternoon already. So here I am, Utah.
Ouch. Very cool. Evan, you kind of had a fun weekend. Why don't you backpedal?
Yeah, I went up into the woods in Bellingham this last weekend for about a day and a half, and it was a lot of fun. I did a solo ride out around Lake Whatcom and to Mosquito Lake Road, which anybody listening to this, if you know where Mosquito Lake Road is, I'll be super impressed because it's kind of a sneaky road, kind of like winded its way through the mountains out there, just northeast of Lake Whatcom. Lake Whatcom being a beautiful lake in Bellingham. And we swam in Lake Whatcom for a day and then swam at Lake Padden. I have a friend who used to run at Western Washington University who had previously in another trip showed me Lake Padden, which is where a lot of the runners go there. It's like
You
this.
have a friend?
I have one friend up there.
That's good.
Two friends, actually. It's where
Wow.
Derek lives now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually dropped off some mountain bike goggles to Derek.
Ah.
Yeah, he's mountain biking now pretty
So
consistently.
this is northern Washington for those international
Yes.
listeners.
Basically
in the
almost
Pacific Northwest.
Canada.
Almost.
It's about as close to
Yeah.
city as you can get to Canada in Washington.
Gotcha.
Yep. Beautiful area, though. If you
Right.
are ever around it, Bellingham is amazing. And me not being a mountain biker, from what Derek's told me, it's better for mountain biking than it is for road biking. And I thought it was great for road biking.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Beautiful running there, too. But, yeah, then came back, did a track workout this morning, and I'm here.
How's the track workout?
It was good.
Wow.
It was good. I always try, whenever I do a track workout, I try to nerd out with Matt on like, okay, let's predict what my marathon time would be now, or what would my 5K be next
I ran a
weekend now?
33-second
200, yeah.
Tell me, give me, what is this going to equate
10K.
to? Give me a marathon time for that. I'm
What's
like,
an
I don't know.
8K of that conversion?
I was just guess and give you a number.
Yeah.
Just to make you happy.
I'm able to kind of like hit 400s pretty smooth at like 70 now. Like 70 is like well within the wheelhouse to like keep on producing. So
You need to run a 5K. I think that would be
I think I
interesting.
need to do a 5K. I think so.
think
I
you
need
should-
Matt on the bike, on the e-bike, pacing me.
I think you should aim for 15 flat and just see what happens.
Yeah.
I know.
Not a bad idea just to go for it.
It sounds fast, but it's 72s. 72 and
Yeah.
72 and a little bit.
Whew,
so.
yeah. I would need to chase you on a bicycle.
Hey, Lance, do you want to backpedal now?
Yeah, what? I don't understand what they're talking about.
What does Lance have to backpedal about? He just like rode across America in a car like he always does. Like,
is Evan done? Are we
I'm
done
not,
talking about?
why
your
am I even
stupid
here if
track
I'm not going
running,
to talk
Evan?
about running? That's like what
What
am I even doing here then?
It's triathlon podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you guys don't get to do your triathlon takeover. There's no Kona this year.
I'm just going to talk about running. I'm just going to talk about running a triathlon whenever I want to now.
They were as into the World Championships as we were.
Oh yeah,
They were in. They were hooked.
Everybody is secretly really missing Kona, and if you're not, then I feel bad for you.
That's news that we should talk about at some point. We'll bring it up in a minute.
Yes.
Very cool.
I miss going to Kona, but the race not so much.
I don't think anybody actually misses doing that race. That race would be terrible to do. But
terrible.
Lance, go ahead and backpedal for us.
Well, I have been traveling across the western United States. I left with my wife and my dog and the van. We brought mountain bikes and gravel bikes. We did not bring road bikes with us on this trip, so go figure. So we've been having a great time. We stopped in Boise and did some mountain biking at a bike park in Eagle, which was a lot of fun until I was showing my wife the pump track. And I'm showing her how to do the pump track, and I'm whipping around the pump track, and I promptly crashed and ripped more skin off my knee.
Oh,
so
geez.
I'm not having good luck with the skin on all of my appendages.
Were you wearing a helmet at the time?
Yes, I was.
Okay, good.
Now, there is some controversy here because I did post a few pictures riding bikes without a helmet, and let me just say, these were very slow, short rides, one on the beach and one just on a gravel road going. It was like a stop for the dog to run around, and we were not riding fast.
Caught red-handed.
How many?
Caught red-handed.
How many times how many times have you crashed in the past 2 weeks?
1, 2. I have to count. Hold on. 3 times.
So
3 times.
A man of your crashing status, do you feel like you should wear helmets?
Yeah, maybe I should.
I mean,
wear a helmet.
I'm thinking maybe like even when you're not biking. You should
I think
wear
he
a
actually
helmet.
just gave it to Piper because when I was watching the video, Piper's running faster than you were biking, so Piper probably needs the helmet more than Lance does at this point.
Did you see the video? I'm riding on the beach in Oregon at the Oregon coast, and I'm doing 20 miles an hour, and the dog is pulling away from me.
Yeah. No,
I don't run fast, people. I don't run fast. I mean, I don't bike fast. I don't bike fast. And then it's like,
But
I was going 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But that was on like the beach. It was like on the sand. You crash, you just like
How do
turf
those
into
ribs
the sand.
feel? How do your ribs feel right now?
My ribs are not good. You know what's crazy? I've been here in Moab for the last 2 days. I've been mountain biking like 25 miles a day. Anyway, they hurt more when I'm getting the bikes out of the van than when I'm actually riding the bike. So I think they're healing up, but they're just not quite there yet. But I'll be all right.
Be careful. Be careful out there.
I've been having a blast. My wife we picked up a mountain bike for my wife before we left, and we've been riding around on the trails in Moab area, and it's just been super cool to run with the dog and ride with my wife, and we've been having a great time. So it's all good.
Nice.
So my week's been good. Oh, there is one ride I did want to talk about. On the way out, we stopped in Provo for a couple days, Provo, Utah, because my son is living in Provo, and we were helping him move into a new house that he's renting. And I took the morning off, my wife and my son released me for the morning so I could go do a gravel ride one day. I picked this route that went through the mountains next to Provo and Springville. If you know that area, it looked like it was a decent gravel route, but like the first 25 miles, there was almost 5,500 feet of climbing, which was really hard. And once I hit the gravel road, it was huge rocks, dirt road, not really gravel. I should have been on the mountain bike. It was like really difficult gravel riding, but I ended up having a blast. It was like 55 miles, and it took me almost 5 hours to do. That's how hard the riding was. But I survived it, so that was kind of crazy.
It's a lot of climbing to get up there and find a not well maintained road. I don't know if it's not
No.
well maintained, but whatever.
I mean, at that point, I'm like, okay, do I turn around and go back? I'm like, no, I'm like committed at this point.
Yeah.
I'm going to see this whole loop through. So I'm just going to keep going. So
Was the view worth it?
What's that?
Was the view worth the 5,500 feet of pure gravel climbing?
The view was amazing. Now, that 5,500 feet, only the first, wait, no, let me think. The first 1,500 feet was on a paved road. And then the next 3,000 feet were on gravel. Yeah, it was hard.
That is very rough.
It was rough.
Fun.
But that's my week. That's enough of that.
Cool. Matt, how about you?
I'm still bothering Jake on a daily basis to get a bike put together. So we'll see about that soon. So no biking this week. I swam a ridiculous amount. I actually swam every day this week.
You swam every day?
Every day. Like, all these people are like, man, I wish I could swim. Pools are closed, blah, blah, blah. And
I'm doing is biking.
I'm like, I swam. Sorry to, spit in your face, but I swam every day. I swam, I think,
open water and in the pool or in the pool?
5 days of open water swimming and 2 days of pool swimming.
You're my idol right now. I need to be more like Matt.
Well, I probably didn't swim that much volume.
You're taking the exact opposite of every other triathlete in the world right
Yes,
now, where every other triathlete's like, I'm doing a lot of Zwifting and bike riding right now. And Matt's like, I'm swimming too much.
I'm going to win the first event of triathlon, come out, just take my time.
Uh-huh. Get on the new bike, which you will have just bought at that time.
Who knows? Maybe we'll just call it.
Jake will be putting it together in T1 as you are getting out of the water.
I'll just be like, no, race is over. This is a swim race.
How do you shift?
Yeah.
Swim,
Jake,
swim,
I'm
and
sorry
swim.
I'm not there to help
you
you.
up.
It sounds like you're being taken over by stinking triathletes again.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I'm here, really.
Awesome. Is that it?
Yeah, that's. I've been working a
Well,
lot.
yeah.
I've been working a stupid amount.
Swam 7 days. There's the back pedal. Boom.
I swam every day. It's great.
Very nice. Mine real quick. I had another solid week. I had 11 and a half hours on the bike.
Yep.
I commuted to work
big week.
every single day, 2 weeks in a row.
We talked about this before. Are you counting your commutes towards your 11 hours now or
Yeah.
not? Yeah, because you're not doing it on the e-bike now.
No, I only did one ride on the e-bike.
Okay,
So
cool.
all of the other rides have been on there, and I was actually doing a little bit of work a few times.
Yeah, that's cool.
I know that there was one ride in particular where it was 20 minutes, and my normalized power, if I'm not mistaken, was like 285 or 290 for that 20 minutes.
Solid work. That's a lot of work.
I mean, when you throw a 20-pound backpack onto you as well, that really
Yeah.
starts to add up.
Yeah, and
Especially
Jake's
those
volume is just increasing naturally from being, you had 40 minutes guaranteed. Oh, no more, 45 minutes almost.
It's about that, about 40
About 40 minutes
Yeah.
each week, yeah,
Yep.
or each
Each
day.
day, yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That won't be the case this week. I broke my streak today. I was kind of sad about that, but there was just too many things that required a vehicle for the day. So today ends, and that was the other thing.
hot.
When I left my house this morning at like 9:30, it was already 81 degrees. It's
Yeah.
going to be about 100 here today. So
Ugh.
toasty.
Ugh.
But aside from that, I did get on the gravel bike a few times. I did Zwift a couple times to spell my shoulder, and then we went out and did Tres Lagos again, the 3 laps around the lake
Yeah.
on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. I saw that you were going to make that like a thing.
Trying to, yeah. And
I
there's-
like that idea.
There's more people that are starting to come out. I know that Sean and Nels didn't come out this past week. Sean said he was just completely shelled from working out and whatever. But I did have Scott Troutman came out, and Beef Mountains, Mike McIvan came out. So
The man himself.
yeah, and that's one of those things, that we always say, if you want to get strong on the bike, go ride with people that are faster than you. And Mike Ivan is definitely faster than a lot of people right now. So chased him around, and I actually did a better job of holding onto his wheel than I thought I would. I was a little bit fatigued and tired going into that ride, but I still gave it my all. And I thought he beat me by more, but when I went back and looked at the final, there's a 3-lap segment called Tres Lagos.
Oh, okay.
I think he beat me by just like a minute and change. So
Do you guys go like slow, medium, hard kind of on the three loops? Or
No, I think Mike probably just went
hard,
fast, and then faster.
this week was 3 hard laps. So in the past, we've done like a warm-up lap, hard on the second lap, and like a tempo for the finish, and it just kind of like bounces around.
Okay.
I'd love to see more people show up and just kind of let the ride, based on how people are feeling, dictate itself. And people want to try a breakaway, then go do your thing.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But that's a good workout, and I think my normalized power after the Tres Lagos, which was like an hour and 15 minutes, was 310 watts. So
That's big. That's like an hour, right?
hour and 15 minutes.
Hour and 15, yeah.
So it was pretty good. It was fun.
Dang.
I think Mike wasn't too far off of that. I just have like 25 pounds on him. So
Yeah.
And there's some hills.
Lake
in
road
that.
climbing.
there's a few
Yeah.
hills in there.
Yeah.
So that was my week, and this coming week will be a kind of a down week. Going camping, going to go up to Lost Lake. I'm still like kind of on the fence. I don't know which bike to take with me. There's good road riding up there.
Yeah.
There's good gravel riding, if I'm not mistaken, and there's some mountain biking up there as well. So I need to figure out which bike
I
I'm going
would
to take.
bring
I
your
take the
gravel.
I was going to say gravel.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause then you
what I
guys
was
take
leaning
on the
towards.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would normally take all of them, except
Yeah.
for everybody in my family's bringing a bike, so I can only take one.
I say
Womp womp.
gravel, and you could probably, because some of the trails.
Barrett should bring his mountain bike.
Yeah.
He'll probably have more fun on the mountain
Everybody
bikes.
will be on a mountain bike.
Yeah.
For me, it's either going to be I had it narrowed down to mountain just to be like everybody else, or the gravel bike, and I was leaning towards the gravel bike.
Some of the trails like around the lake itself aren't so like your gravel bike, you'll be able to handle it.
Sure.
But I think there are some awesome gravel roads up there too. They go really far. We talked about maybe using that as one of our like century gravel locations.
Really?
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
Well, you just helped me make up my mind.
Yeah.
So appreciate that.
Is there a gravel race out there?
I don't know.
Not yet.
I don't
There's
think
that
so.
many roads,
Not
yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, cool. All right. The lead out news brought to you by Garmin Connect. Champ Bailey, you on the phone, Champ Bailey? Did you go along with Lance on this little adventure?
Champ is here. Champ is here, but he is halfway across the country. But coming at you live on location. Champ Bailey, yes. What do we have? The big thing that happened was Garmin was attacked by a ransomware attack, and their servers shut down for almost 4 days. So anybody who records running or cycling or fitness activities on Garmin could not upload their rides and runs, and it was a little frustrating for a lot of people. It lasted about 4 days. We're recording this on Monday afternoon, and it was late Sunday night when they finally were able to start uploading again. So it was a little nuts. There was a lot of question. Garmin was pretty cryptic about what happened, but it sounds like there was a Russian hacker that attacked the Garmin site and were holding a $10 million ransom to clear all the ransomware off their thing. I don't know if Garmin was able to solve the issue themselves or if they paid the ransom. That I don't know yet as of this moment, but it was messy. For somebody like me who uses a Garmin several times a day, it was very irritating. I started recording rides from my Apple Watch, which worked, or just from using the the Strava app. That also worked, but neither of those things record power, which meant I didn't have power numbers for any of my rides, which was annoying. But that's just, for 4 days, big deal, whatever.
So the thing to do is definitely like use your Garmin as normal, and then plug it into the computer using this little cord they call USB.
Yep, it works perfect.
Wait, what?
And then you manually upload it to Strava.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of work, and you're on location. So
I was not. That was not an option for me, really. So where I was traveling, and luckily I have an Apple Watch, or I could use the app if I wanted to do that, and that was the backup for me. But it made it a little bit messy.
So I think that what they do with these ransomware things is they snag access to the database, and the database runs the site and all the things like that, and then they encrypt it, and so they're not like moving it or shutting it down. They encrypt everything, and then they have the password, and to get that password, it's a $10 million little bounty there. So
you're all welcome. I helped pay that off. Did you? Make sure we can all get that back. Well, I didn't want the Russians having my heart rate data. Like they can't know where my zone 3 is. So
I think that the other part of that is now that the Garmin has credit card information on devices and things like that, all that information. Yep. Well, and that stuff is encrypted, and then it was encrypted again because of the ransomware. So it's not necessarily like they were just going to have access to your credit card or anything crazy like that, or even probably other data that's sensitive. But I would say that it's such a massive amount of data. Garmin should obviously back it up, and they probably did have some sort of offsite backup for that, because they either have their own data center or they're using some other large company data center like Amazon for that much data. It's a ton of data. And so just moving that much data around would take days.
I think actually the primary driver behind this was Team Katusha wanted good threshold data on all the American teams because they were very nervous with guys like Sepp Kuss coming through, that they were like, we need to know exactly where he cracks heart rate wise.
Let's just see that.
So they just hired a Russian hacker, and they're like, go do this for us real quick and get our team $10 million so we can do the best doping. Yeah.
Katusha.
So watch out for Team Katusha this year.
They're going to be big this year.
Zacharin's winning everything. Yeah.
No drug testing.
Zero drug testing in Russia right now.
We're safe.
They're set.
Crazy times.
Conspiracy theory Monday.
The rumor behind the attack was a Russian hacker who actually is behind several other big attacks that is wanted by the FBI and the US. They actually know who he is, but he lives in Moscow, and he's not attacking Russian companies, and so he is, as long as he doesn't leave Moscow, he's fine. That's the rumor I've heard, but he's wanted all over the world, everywhere else. So go figure.
Too, from an article that I was reading, he's doing a lot of work for whatever the KGB is called these days. So he's kind of in bed with the Russian government.
He's in bed with the right people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rolling around.
I'll tell you what an awful line of work. Like, I mean, come
Hacking?
on. Yeah. Like, how awful a human being are you? It's like you just ruin people's lives from an armchair. Like, jeez, you're an awful human being. Just terrible.
He drives a $250,000 Lamborghini, just so you know.
Lambo.
Really?
Yes.
That's got like a custom paint job.
Must be nice.
I know from experience that the Lamborghini.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Matt,
they do
how's that ride?
extremely well on icy conditions in Moscow. They're built for going over anything on ice. Oh yeah. Lambo.
Well, maybe that was what the $10 million was going to be for. Was he was like, I'm just getting tired of the Lambo. I need different cars.
Wanted to lift it, put some 4-wheel drive on it. Yeah,
put a lift on it.
And for this guy's an expert. He's like, Garmin's easy. This is going to be this is taking candy from a baby right here.
Garmin's worth what was it, $5 billion? That's
$5 billion?
That's their market cap right now. So
I wonder
they have that $10 million.
I wonder if they paid it.
I don't know. Well, I was also reading that it's against the law for them to pay that ransomware.
I think Jake's right on that. So, yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure that there was something.
Well, I thought that maybe is why they've been so quiet. They're like, server maintenance. This is maintenance. No, everyone knows what happened, Garmin, and they're like, no, don't know what you're talking about.
4 days of maintenance. We just needed 4 days to clear.
We're missing $10 million from our spreadsheet. Don't mind that. That was
it's now $10 a month.
Consulting fee. Gotta pay that consulting
fee for some server
all of a sudden, there's a monthly charge. No reason.
Exactly.
No reason.
Pay no attention to this.
Any other news?
There was some racing in Spain. The big news there, Van Vleuten, the female phenom from Spain, she won 3 races in 4 days in Spain, so she was kind of killing it.
So she's still fast.
Yeah. Other than that, there really isn't a whole lot of other news happening. There is a stage race that's been happening in Georgia.
I heard
the
that.
tour of the tour of Northern Georgia. We actually had a few people from the Portland area go out to do the race.
I believe Vegan Cyclist is there as well, Lance.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have no idea what the results are because I'm a bit disconnected right now and I didn't care. So there you go.
Also, Kona is officially canceled. The Kona World Championship.
Yeah, I really don't care about that.
Yeah, you do.
And in actual also racing news, Christian Blumenfeld won the Austrian National Championship, which actually did happen. It was a triathlon, I believe, Olympic distance triathlon that happened this last weekend, which may be the only national championship to go down outside of the cycling Slovenia national championship.
Yeah.
which is run by Roglic. So there's going to be a really small list of national champions going into 2021.
Fun. Hey, the people want to know. They want to know from a PT.
Oh, God, I didn't know.
They've been riding so much more. They want to know, why are their hips tight?
Hey, wait, Jake.
Hey, Speedos. They want to know.
Ask a PT.
Actually, you know what would help your hips would be swimming, which would require a Speedo. Yes. Okay, 60 seconds. Hold on.
Time out. What were you going to say there, Lance?
I was going to say Champ Bailey out.
Oh, can't forget that.
Man. Ah.
All right,
Please move along. No,
All right.
Nobody cares.
Here we go.
Okay, here we
Moving
go.
on.
Clock is going. So, obviously, we have hit COVID. More people are like, this would be a great time to do a massive Zone 2 block in my training. And by massive, I mean 8 to 9 months in length of just nothing but long weekend rides. Let's say that you're not used to that type of training, and all of a sudden, you are trying to go everywhere to get a different bike fit, and nothing is working for you, and your hips are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And as your cycling fitness increases, you're like, I really hope this will not interrupt my training cycle, which has been perfect. Or in Lance's word, the 500-day 2 cyclocross state championship training cycle. So, as a cyclist, this is going to seem very obvious, but you really have to think about this. It is an incredibly linear sport. The same motor pattern over and over and over again. So, how do you maintain variability in movement while getting specifically fast in that motor pattern? I would like to look at somebody like Peter Sagan. Look at how that man trains in different planes. He strength trains. He also, if you plugged him on a soccer field, would probably not move too bad side to side. So, as a cyclist this next year, let's say we're going to enter winter. Let's say you did not race in 2020, and we are going into that 2021 spring season. What should you do that winter? You should really build up a lot of your hip rotator strength. That means side-to-side movement. That means single-leg balance. If you're really not a fan of doing that in concentration, you should consider sports like pick-up soccer indoors. A lot of side-to-side movement. Very good there. Pick up basketball with your kids. Anything that gets you moving laterally and gets you out of that motor pattern that is straight back and forth. Also, things like yoga are great. They get you moving out of that same motor pattern, just like we talked about. So the biggest thing is not just it's not just stretching and massages. That's not going to give you that hip variability and movement. You have to train that. So my best advice for you, oh man, I'm hitting 2 minutes here. My best advice for you is consider something outside of your scope and give it a try this year going before 2020 race season. Boom, out. 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Oh.
Good advice.
2:13. Okay, but yeah.
Do you do anything at the Dialed Endurance Lab that might help me with that, Evan?
Absolutely, we do. We do small little group classes and one-on-one training, or you can come and see a PT, which would be me here. But yeah, it's crucial as a cyclist, specifically as a cyclist, to try and get out of that plane, especially as your training load builds up and up. You do not want to have to hit a big training block because of that.
Very cool. I think that's some good advice, some good information. In that medical vein, how about we do another Med Student Minute with Tonk?
Med Student Minute with Tonk.
From a much younger, more vibrant, more intelligent person here, Jesse Tonkinson.
All right, let's give it a listen. He did another bit for us, sent it in, and we're going to listen to it right now.
The question today is, to what ends will people go to not exercise? What's up, Dialed Podcast? It's your favorite Cat 3 Med student here, Tonk. Welcome to Med Minute, the segment where we dive into some interesting research to help us become better athletes. Today, we talk about how exercise can sharpen your mind and help stave off dementia. In a University of California study, a team of researchers dived into the idea that couch potatoes, or otherwise inactive people, and in this case mice, can receive similar cognitive benefits and overall regenerative physiological changes that can be almost reversed by exercising. In this group, they had, 2 inactive mice populations. One of them they dubbed the couch potato mice, who, wouldn't exercise. And then the other group, who was overall inactive, they gave them a wheel. And so then they would, exercise every day, because I guess that's what you do when you're stuck in a cage. Kind of like what we did in quarantine for a long time. But all that to say is the group that didn't regularly exercise were actually provided an infusion of a liver enzyme that they had, thought would benefit the mice in a very similar way as the active group. The conclusion of the study was that the rodents getting the blood and the liver enzyme from the active mice also grew roughly twice as many neurons in the region of the brain involving learning and memory. And the team's, report in their publication in Science is that this infusion into the couch potato mice was comparable to the rodents who directly exercised. So I'm always blown away to what ends researchers and pharmaceutical companies will go to And they went as far as saying it was, quote unquote, very tantalizing, that you could eventually put this into a pill and people would be able to receive the cognitive benefits of the exercise and, the exercise-induced physiological changes, opposed to just potentially doing the exercise themselves. All that with the, acknowledgement that some people maybe aren't able to do the exercise. So perhaps this question is oversimplified, but if you weren't able to exercise, would you take this cognitive boosting pill? Let me know what you think. Thanks, Stout Podcast. Have a great week.
Tonk, not only would I take the pill.
He's got the voice for radio.
He
too,
does.
He's
God,
good.
he does.
It's a silky voice.
Not only would I take the pill, I'm currently hooked up to an IV to Evan's bloodstream right now. I'm just telling Evan, I would give him a whip or two, and I said, get back to work, get back to exercising. I got to get my cognitive skills up.
Yeah, this is where, remember last week when Lance was like, you need to be doing it for somebody outside yourself when things get tough? I think in my head, I'm doing this for Matt now.
Matt needs my blood.
Matt needs my blood, and he's probably going to whip me if I don't. So.
That's great. Thanks, Tonk. I don't know. Would you guys take it?
No.
Heck yeah.
No.
Lance?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Are you serious?
Well, here's the problem. Like, we're all going to exercise because we like exercising anyway. So I'm guessing it's one of those things where it's like, you're going to take this pill that's going to do the same thing that you're already doing.
But it's not. I believe this is all HS.
So I don't think I would take it. I would take it if I couldn't exercise. And this question was, would you take it if you couldn't exercise? If I couldn't exercise, I would. I wouldn't take it in lieu of exercise.
I still wouldn't take it because I guarantee there's
some sort of repercussion.
You lose all your arms and all your legs, and all you can do is the centipede. You're just going to do the centipede for the rest of your life?
I would do the centipede for the rest of my life.
Crunches,
no lie.
crunches.
I'm not making that up. I have a firm stance on active over passive everything. So that falls so firmly under the passive activity that
quadriplegic.
No, wouldn't. I'd find some other way.
Really?
Yeah. We'll have science on replaceable bionic limbs that can produce an aerobic effect prior to that becoming the thing.
They do sell that thing now that you can put in your mouth and you like chew on it to get they call it like more of a square jaw
your
line.
jaw muscle.
Yeah. Have you guys seen that
I would
infomercial?
become the greatest gum chewer then of all time. I would do anything. I see people who there was a guy I was just watching Kona from last year who did Kona with the cheetah legs. Yeah. Guy made it all the way through Kona with that. Yeah. People will find a way.
Well, there you have it. Thanks again, Tonk. Appreciate that. Let's jump into our topic for today. The Midsummer Check. Midsummer Check.
Midsummer Check.
Is this the middle of the summer?
Yeah,
sure
it is.
Pretty much
it's
about
getting
halfway
towards
there.
It's like 100 degrees today.
We're getting
so that's
late
the middle
in
of the summer. Yeah.
Like August is like what?
Yeah.
This week or this weekend?
Next week, yeah.
No, this weekend. I
This
think.
weekend.
Maybe even like later this week.
Oh, it's Saturday. You're right. August 1st
Yeah,
is
today's
Saturday.
27th, so it's what, in 4 days?
Yeah. Saturday's August 1st.
Good golly, this month has gone by fast.
Summer's flying by.
Yeah. All right, so in the Midsummer Check, we just wanted to run through a bunch of stuff. We want to talk about maybe some equipment you should consider addressing. Does it need service? Does it need to be replaced based on the usage that you've put into it thus far? Some other stuff, too, like what's in store for us for the rest of the summer with new products. Got the Tour de France coming up. Got adventures we're going on. Should we be training for 2021 right now? Question. So let's jump into it. Lance, do you have anything that you would like to talk about in any of that stuff that we just mentioned?
Well, I'm really interested to see what happens with the Tour de France. If it actually gets pulled off, if it actually happens. It seems like cases are dropping in Europe, but they are rising in the U.S. and the rest of the world. I don't know. It should be interesting to see kind of what happens there. So I'm curious to see if that actually goes down or if they do it without fans and if, all the training these people are trying to do in order to stay with it. I'm actually looking forward to.
Yep.
So
the Tour de France is what, the third week in August? It's like August 20 something?
Something like that.
It's like the 29th and then the first 2 weeks of September, I believe, if I'm thinking correctly.
That sounds about right. So we've got about a month. Gosh, do you think? Go around the table real quick. Do you guys think it's actually going to happen?
I don't think the numbers are going to change that much in a month. At least, I'm very U.S. centric, right? So things don't look good here.
Yeah,
they don't look good here. No,
yeah, I think as well. God, I don't know. I feel like things are opening up in Europe a little bit more than here.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they do the Tour de France and U.S. riders aren't allowed in.
Right.
I think they already left the States, so they could be over there.
Over there.
Yeah, I think
that was
that's
smart.
That was
smart.
what their preemptive move was.
Yeah.
all of the U.S. riders that I follow on Strava they're already in either Monaco or Spain or Girona, or they've already gone over there.
Yeah, the only ones that matter is Sepp Kuss there and is Lawson Craddock there. That'd be the only two that really we'd care about. Who else is there?
Lawson Craddock is there, but I don't know about Sepp Kuss. Lawson Craddock is in Girona, so
he is?
But I don't know about Sepp. Yeah.
Is Lawson still in EF first?
Yeah,
ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I believe so. And then Sepp is Jumbo Visma. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. How about any new products coming down the pipeline for this summer, Matt, that you know of?
There are. There's stuff that we can't talk about, but I'm trying to think of stuff that we can talk about. 2020 bikes are just released.
Yeah.
A lot of 2020. I think the Trek Madone. You can't look at the handlebars. Can't do any of that. But BMC also did their new SLR 01, right?
Yeah.
The 2020 edition of that one just announced.
Feel free to say no to this question, but can we tangent here and talk about a possible email communication that you got from Trek? Or is that something that you need to like?
Yeah, sure. So Trek, we always talk about Trek, not looking at their handlebars or whatever, and that's because
or their email inbox.
I had some aero bars that basically the stem broke while using them, and they were like, you can't use the hand. There's a lot of weight if you use the hand.
Which was not an uncommon problem, but they told you was an uncommon
they said
problem,
it
which was a lie.
They said they hadn't seen it, but then when we don't know. But I talked to someone else, and they were like, yeah, that happened to me 3 times, like same spot where the stem broke. So it seems to be like a defective item.
Yeah. I'd be pretty shocked if you were the only 2 human beings who experienced that then the entire time.
So I made a video on the channel, and then that got out and eventually got passed around Trek, and they basically, I think the CEO saw it and told their kind of like customer service rep to call me or text, whatever. So he sent me an email
to send you a fruit basket.
Yeah, I know, right? That's totally the answer.
Sorry about your shoulder.
And he said, like, hey, he was super cool email. And he was just like, if you don't want to talk to me, like, I totally understand. Like, that's But he's like, but if you do want to talk, like, can I call you? And I'm like, here's my phone number. I'd love to talk. I'm an open book. I'll tell you, way more than you got in the 10-minute video. And here are my questions for you. Like, hey, is this a defective part? Are there more of these out on the road? And I think I said something else, like, hey, if this is how your customer service is, like, what changes can you make to make sure that, someone else doesn't have a similar horrible situation happen to them?
Yeah.
No call, no response.
Whoa.
What, are you serious?
No. After I sent that email to him, and I literally sent.
That's a very mature response. You could have literally told him.
Maybe they're gonna call me today. I don't know. Maybe they'll call on
maybe they're
air.
Gonna visit.
If they call on air, we're gonna recording it. We're gonna record the whole call.
There you go.
But that was, I think, a week ago or so. It was maybe on Tuesday. And he sent me the email, and I probably replied within an hour because it was one of those things where I did think about the reply. Like, I thought about like what I wanted to say in the email. But I'm also like at my computer working. And so I was there to see the email and reply. It didn't take me a long time. And so I figured, okay, Wednesday he'll call me, right? Like, or whatever, here's my phone number, put it out there. Let me know. So
follow-up video.
I'm not gonna follow up a video that's like, these guys have horrible customer service.
Part 2.
with another video that's like, yep, they have.
They still have bad.
They have really bad customer service.
In case anyone was wondering, they still have really bad customer service.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I could send them another email, but like, why am I harassing these? Why am I harassing these people so that they can talk to me about the problem that they're not willing to fix? I mean, I don't know, right? What am I going to say?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a total side tangent, right? Because we're supposed to
but a worthwhile filter, completely worthwhile.
We're supposed to be talking about like new upcoming products, and I think that Trek Madone, bringing it back to the subject matter, I know that they just released a new Trek Madone. Looks cool. It was also interesting. Specialized released a new tarmac, and they did something interesting because all of this, it's hard to promote these things, but what they did was they made this app, and you could do this augmented reality piece to it. And so what that means is you can, it's not virtual reality. Augmented reality is slightly different, and that being that you can take a normal scene, like let's just say you're standing here or sitting here at the Dialed Lab endurance area, and you're just looking around, and you can actually augment that reality with a digital item. So in this case, you can take this brand new Specialized tarmac bike, and you can place it somewhere on the ground in front of you digitally. So then you're looking through your phone, and you can go and you can look and inspect different parts of the bike. You can get very close. You can even look, at the component sets that are part of the bike and things like that. Really cool interactive augmented reality bit there that they did to help promote their new bike. So that was cool. And you guys should check it out.
Do you hear that, Matt? Do you hear? That's a plane flying over my head. That's about how far that just went over. So there's augmented, and then what's the other virtual?
Virtual reality and augmented reality.
And augmented. And
okay. What's cool is I've gotten to do exactly this stuff for unnamed clients that I work for. Oh. And so, if it were like a shoe or something like that, then you can go look at the shoe and design the shoe or whatever it is. But you can get really close to it, and you can go around it in 360 degrees. And so it's like interesting to be able to look at a product.
That's crazy.
You just need to see this to kind of get a feel for it, because you are looking through your phone to augment the reality.
Did you do it?
No, I didn't actually download that Specialized Tarmac because I'm not in the market for a Specialized Tarmac.
I was just curious. Yeah.
No, I mean, I should. I mean, I think it's so. Yeah, I could get into the complexities and what parts are hard and what parts are easy. It's not actually that hard to get like a 3D object to show up in a spot. What's hard is designing, getting the CAD model to look good and show up. And that's the hard part of it. Gotcha. So
Is that LiDAR? Is that what they use?
No, they don't. Actually, so there's two bits of it. The iPad has this depth sensor, but that's only on the newest iPad Pro, and then the phones that haven't been announced yet, that's coming up in October, those are supposedly going to have some depth mapping.
Gotcha.
So that'll help with augmented reality. But it's using your camera, and it's detecting flat planes to place objects on.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. And it can't, for example, like if your phone was behind the microphone here and the bike was there, like the bike would suddenly, part of it would pop in front of the microphone, right? So you can't have the depth to know where this product is compared to the microphone.
Gotcha.
So there's some things that don't look quite right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Other new products that might be coming down the pipeline that I haven't seen a change for 2, maybe even 2.5 years. Let's say Wahoo kickers. So they have the 2018 Gen 4s. Those came out right at the beginning of 2018. So we're coming up on 3 years on those guys. And we know that they had some issues with some earlier models or versions, iterations of that. Anything coming down the pipeline that you know of or you've heard of? I haven't heard anything.
This is basically what they kind of consider like indoor trainer season announcements right now. And so Elite is a bike. I think that there's a brand called Elite, and they make something called their Direct Drive something. They have a new top of the line trainer. Sure. It's a big monster trainer, like bigger than all the ones that we have. They're all big, right? But this one's even like it's literally like twice the size of all the other ones. It's so big. And they just announced that one. But I expect, all the companies, Trax and Kicker, and to potentially make their announcements. I just don't know anything.
Tax just came out with the Tax Neo 4S, I think is what it is. I think they came out with that last year, if I'm not mistaken. So
probably
that's kind of semi-current. I usually would envision those being in a 2-year cycle.
Right.
I'm just kind of surprised. I mean, I know the Wahoo's been very good about like coming out with new stuff, and I think they started coming out with things in 2014, and we're on the 4th generation. It just doesn't seem like they've come out with something in a while, and you would think that maybe something would be coming down the pipeline, especially knowing that they had some issues with their last one, and they want to kind of come out with a new and improved, and we're coming up on trainer season.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's buying them because of the pandemic.
Yeah, but now's the time if they can. I'm sure they're working on something for sure. I also think that they make that they make that Wahoo Element Bolt, and that's 3 years old as well. And it's a great computer. I've talked about it on my channel all the time, but it's like, hey, 3 years old, like time, it's time for something to update there.
Maybe that's, kudos to them for making a product that kind of stands the test of time. That's like been going up against Garmin, who's come out with a few different computers in that time period.
Yep.
It's standing the test of time.
It's a good device 3 years later.
Yep.
But it's due for an update.
Yep. I don't disagree. So,
Anything else? Components or anything like that?
You know what? The SRAM Access stuff is fantastic. I
would expect them to
absolutely adore that stuff.
Right.
It's been out for about a year and a half now, almost. Year and change.
I think I got it right after it came out.
Right.
So probably a year and a
SRAM
half.
Red came out. Yeah, about.
It was like I want to say it was like March or April of 2019 is when that came out, and this 4 stuff wasn't too far behind it.
I wonder what their cycle. Yeah, the 4 stuff was like 6 months back after that, right? It took a little while. There was a big break.
There was a break. I can't remember how long it was. I'd be guessing, but it's out.
Right.
It's been crickets from Shimano. They came out with their GRX stuff.
The GRX is what I was going to say.
They haven't done anything with their latest iterations of the Dura-Ace and the Ultegra.
So what's interesting is the standard big conferences, like bike conferences, obviously aren't going to happen this year, right? Because it's like everyone in the bike industry like descends on Vegas.
Well, they haven't done that for a few years. The Interbike show, they haven't.
They were in Reno when I was there.
They went to Reno.
That was the last one.
Oh yeah, that's right. You went to that. That was the last one.
They didn't do it last year.
It doesn't surprise me because it was bad numbers that year.
Yeah,
cool stuff was there, but it was really really bad numbers.
Yeah.
So
but
anyway,
I think it's because all the regional conferences are beating it now. So it's like Interbike isn't the place to be anymore. There's like one in Chicago that people loved. And then a lot of the big manufacturers like Trek and I believe Specialized were doing their own thing.
Yeah. I think that's the thing to do. Yep.
But to go back on your point, there's pandemic stuff going on. But what happened in the cycling industry over the last 4 months, 3 months?
Blew up.
It is
true.
Absolutely bonkers. Go call any bike country in the country.
Yeah, bike company. Yeah.
Bike shop in the country. You're going to get an answer of like, oh my gosh, it has been absolutely maddening here. Yeah. And people call all the time looking for kids' bikes, looking for entry-level bikes. Yeah. They've been gone.
Which is crazy because at Interbike, listening to their talk at Interbike would have been the most depressing thing you'd ever hear. It was like just doom and gloom, like cycling is dead in America, basically, and just a lot of negativity. And that's not, it's not like COVID's not funny, but like it's so strange 2 years from now, you think a pandemic would have been the death sentence of bike shops. And now all of a sudden it's like, somehow a bike shop seems to be a good investment now.
Name 2 different businesses or 2 different industries that have seen more of a spike than bike companies and virtual conference meetings.
Video games, probably. I don't know.
Maybe.
Video games, maybe.
Yeah. Mass manufacturers.
Video games, Zoom meeting, and bikes.
Zoom's doing okay.
And Lysol, and that's about it.
Well, I think Zwift's probably doing pretty well too, but we'll lump that into the cycling world.
Yeah.
Anything else out there in terms of products coming down the pipeline that you guys are maybe hoping to see some announcement from?
There's small stuff that I'm super interested in, like aero sensors and aero meters and things like that. But
I did talk with Garmin about that, and I think I kind of followed up with you. And it's there. It's just shelved right now.
Right. There's another company called Aero Labs that's really doing some cool stuff with basically it's 2 pitot tubes and it's it looks quite fantastic.
If they were smart, they would just release it before Garmin does. They should just get out ahead of it.
I think everyone's going to release before Garmin basically, and then Garmin will still come in and kill it. But that's how Garmin is, and all of these it is such a niche thing, right? It's I'm gonna make a video going more into it, but like it's a pro triathlete type product or a pro time trialist type product or someone that really does care about those types, testing equipment and testing those kind of things.
Yeah.
Speaking of equipment, we're about halfway through the summer. We've all been pretty active. You've been swimming a lot.
Yeah.
Evan's running a lot, obviously, and we're all, except for Matt, biking quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that you guys think we should be kind of taking tabs on or like just kind of doing a little check, a little like, hey, how you doing? Like bike chains, or tires or
Matt's
running shoes
hair.
or snorkels.
Snorkels, your snorkel.
Swimming stuff is easy, right? So it's just like, goggles are kind of a little busted
and the
now.
swim cap, just let it go as long as that swim cap will possibly hold on
to. Until you lose it or it breaks. But bike stuff, obviously, I talked in that Trek video that I did like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, hey, check your components. If you see corrosion like I had on my Trek, bike, like get it to a mechanic, and even if the mechanic is like, this is okay, you may still even want to kind of like take the next step and be like, let's just switch it out, and hope that it's not a defective part. Also the same side of the coin, I guess, on that would be check with the manufacturers for any sort of recalls on issues like that.
Register your bike. If you register your bike,
yeah.
you'll get those notifications.
Which I think is huge.
That's big.
Because a lot of times, if it's a recall, you drop it off at the bike shop, they'll take care of it for you, and the bike shop gets paid by the manufacturer to do that work, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So
going back to bikes, or just talking about bikes in general, usually a lot of people, and this year especially, a lot of people took their bikes in to get serviced because they've probably been sitting in the garage for God knows how long,
right.
years in some cases. And they want to go out and ride, so they're doing the right thing. They're taking in it to get serviced. And usually most people will take their bikes in to get serviced before the riding season starts, which is usually probably springish time. Mm-hmm. And about halfway through, a lot of these people, they're not cleaning their drivetrains, and they're riding it maybe even more than they normally would. So a real good telltale sign is listen to your bike. If your bike is making noise, that's generally telling you something is wrong, because the bikes, more times than not, shouldn't be making noise at all, especially if it's a nicer bike. So if it's making any kind of noise, it's probably a good time to maybe take it by your local bike shop if you can get an appointment. It's pretty nuts there too, so that somebody can have a look at it just to make sure that your bike doesn't have more issues down the road. You don't want to be buying new stuff that you didn't have to buy just because you neglected to do some basic maintenance and service.
Midsummer might be a good time to check brake pads.
Yep.
You mentioned chain, like check your chain wear. The easiest way, you can do it with just a ruler, but you can also buy a chain checker tool, which is like $10 or $15 or something. It's something cheap. Yeah. So all these, there's certain parts that I definitely think are worth at least just kind of checking. Brake pads, make sure it's braking okay. Make sure your cables aren't getting sticky.
Yep. Look for tire threads, beads, whatever.
Tires.
You don't want your tire to go out when you're booking down a hill and going into a turn. That's never going to end pretty.
You might want to, if you're Lance, you might want to inspect your wheel and just make sure there's no cracks in it before descending.
That's always a possibility. What's funny is my road bike, which is fairly new, my chain was roasted, and I hadn't checked it in a month or two. Yeah. And so we were messing with it and realized, oh my gosh, the chain is it's totally done. So that had to be replaced.
It was stretched twice as far as it should have been when it should have been changed.
Now, there's different distances for 10-speed chains and 11-speed chains, right? Is there something different for 12-speed chains? Because I don't know anything about
12-speed chains they're new. That's kind of a little bit of a conundrum there.
Right.
It's pretty much just the SRAM offering 12-speed.
Right. Yeah.
So their chains, they have a kind of a neat look to them. The flat part on the top is, as opposed to like the rounded chain link. They don't stretch. They don't stretch the way that conventional chains
They have to stretch at some point.
They get rotational forces. They will stretch a little bit, but you'll put it on there. And there are some chains that SRAM make, and they'll tell you they do not stretch lengthwise. It's all torsional stretch.
But they were saying you get basically twice the life out of them, right?
You do.
That's good.
But those are a tough one. They don't have a chain checker tool for the 12-speed check. They basically say that you need to pop the master link. You need to put it on the ground. You need to have the chain facing up, and then you need to like kind of bend it to see what kind of the arc it has. Oh,
so you're measuring the amount of bend.
Correct.
For a certain number of links? Would you need to do at 20 links, it should bend, you should have this much of an arc?
Yeah, and they don't even have a measurement that they can give you at this point in time. It's kind of a subjective thing where you need to look at it and say, all right, it kind of looks like it's got too much of an arc to it now. Let's go and put a new chain on it. And you want to base that kind of roughly off how many miles you've put on it as well.
Okay. We should talk to SRAM and get some real data.
I've been going back and forth with them because I wanted to make sure that we're doing the right thing from a service perspective, because a lot of these chains last for a long time, but those chains are starting to come back around, and people are saying, I think I might need a new chain. So we're just trying to get our
what
heads
do you
wrapped
think?
around.
Like 2 years for your typical 8-hour-a-week person?
So it depends on the amount of cycling. When you're biking as much as I am,
how much shifting, how much you're climbing.
SRAM,
if you're mad, if you're going up that road that leads up to his house.
Yeah, SRAM always has lasted longer than the Shimano stuff. The Shimano stuff, I was getting somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 miles, and that's using a chain checker and changing it as needed. Sometimes you're just doing a lot more like heavy climbing or sprint interval stuff, and it's going to stretch faster.
Yeah. Well, you're probably using a Dura-Ace chain too, and I wonder if you get more durability out of something like a little heavier. like a Ultegra or 105 chain?
They were both stretching about the same rate. I was
you were?
actually
Okay.
running both of them. I didn't do any kind of scientific
Yeah,
testing
sure.
or anything
Yeah.
like that, but they were all lasting roughly about the same time.
Yeah.
The SRAM one, before I started using the 12-speed access stuff, was lasting a little bit longer. So that's
good.
That was kind of nice. Going into it now with the Force and the red chains for the 12-speed, we're seeing like 4,000 miles out of a chain. So it's probably like for somebody that's doing, like you were saying, that the 8 hours a week kind of thing. That's probably somebody that's going to be
9
in that
months almost. Yeah.
7,000 to 9,000 miles, and it's probably going to be like at least maybe twice a month or twice a year that you're needing to change your chain out. So
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed the difference between the red chain and the Force chain?
No. Well,
Have you tried both of them?
I've only used the red to date.
Okay, gotcha.
But I've looked at a bunch of them, and they seem like they're wearing it about the same.
It's got to be a weight thing, right?
It's
Like
all weight. It's
just
100% weight,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah. So those are some things, though, that you might want to check during the summer months. Anyway, let's move on to the next question was, should we be training in 2021?
Should be training for 2021. Yeah, no, I think that's a good question.
It's a Snickers morning for you guys. For me, you guys. I need more food in my belly.
He needs another LaCroix.
So I think this is a good question, and maybe Lance should kick it off because his training plan was already based around a 900 day. Yeah, about a 900 day training program
plan to state champion. Yeah, to glory.
To world champion.
900 days to glory.
I'm just not stopping, or I'm trying not to stop training, just with the hope that there are going to be some races. I mean, luckily we did have a race, and I was fairly fit when the race went down, and I ended up doing really well when we actually had a semblance of a race, in the Northwest. So I'm hoping that there's going to be some racing, and so I'm just going to keep kind of digging forward and keep training. I mean, what else am I going to do?
But are you following like a strict training program, or are you just doing what you want to do?
No, I use Trainer Road.
Yep.
And I use Trainer Road's outside workouts. I actually haven't been on my indoor trainer since March, I think, or April. I haven't been on it in months. I just ride outside. But I use their program, and I was on it pretty strictly at the beginning of the quarantine, and then I kind of backed off for a couple months, and I did like 2 organized workouts a week, and then the rest of the week I just rode for fun and Strava segments. And then lately, without any really races on the schedule, I have kind of taken it easy. But I'm hoping there's going to be spring racing in 2021, and so I'll probably start doing some kind of organized training pretty strictly again, I don't know, in the fall and in the winter, so that I'm ready, hopefully, if there's some training or there's some racing in 2021.
What about cyclocross? You think it's over for 2020?
I just don't see it happening. I know one of our series has already been canceled in the Portland area. Another one, which is a really large series, they just have not made any announcements yet, but I just don't see how we recover enough to be able to hold the semblance of a cyclocross race. So I'm not hopeful that there's going to be cyclocross racing at all this year.
Gotcha.
You can't
Yeah,
you can't really do a time trial format in a cyclocross race. That would be near impossible. Very difficult.
I think we can pretty safely guess that there's just not going to be group racing in 2020. There may be some adjustments to try and do time trial, kind of like what Lance raced with the mountain biking, and maybe some road TTs like we saw up in Seattle, but that would probably be about it.
There was a race this past weekend here locally as well. Lance
I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah, the Oregon Grand Fondo was done in a time trial format. They sent everybody out, time trial, and came back and put up the race results. And
it's a long time trial. It's a really long time trial.
Speaking of that, we'll just give them a quick kudos. We had 5 teammates who won their respective categories. And
5 teammates won their categories.
And another teammate who took a second place. So that's freaking awesome, man. Yeah. So kudos to all of them for getting out there and getting it done. So, yep. Cool. But Matt and Evan, are you guys training for 2021? Matt,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think. Okay, well, I'm gonna say whatever the opposite of whatever Evan says, but I think
I know.
that
I know deep down you agree with what I'm going to say.
realistically, personally, I think that I'm not in good shape right now. I don't think that's a mystery to anyone. It doesn't make any sense for me to like focus on any key event this year. Get healthy, have maybe some internal personal goals to hit, and ride my bike and have fun and run healthy and have fun and enjoy the summer of swimming and not worry about racing so much.
Absolutely. So this is where we're going to agree on one aspect of this. If you are somebody who's new to triathlon or cycling or running or swimming or anything, just take this time to not be structured and train for the enjoyment of it. I genuinely do believe that right now. I really do. If you're like somebody's like,
you believe it, but do you follow it?
But here's where I'm going to say the but. So
Okay.
let's say that your goal is an Olympic triathlon this year. You should start to just enjoy the three sports. Start to learn the process of getting, some fitness underneath your belt. There's no rush. Just start to enjoy it. Find, small little groups, less than 5 obviously, but like start to do little group training so you can get comfortable in the open water, get comfortable on your road bike, all that. If you are somebody who likes to chronically post to Strava and has major goals, and
let's not name names, Lance.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're somebody
I'll
who
admit
is
that.
very driven in goal-oriented results, you need to be training right now, period.
Well,
I'm not going to get into that, like, and me and Matt are going to argue over this right now, I'm sure, but like, you have to treat this like it was a race season. How many elite guys do you know, Matt, that like took a year off and somehow that next year came back and killed it?
Right.
I mean, we could probably name the ones we know because that's how uncommon it is.
Yeah. And I think even for you, where it's like you have an Everesting attempt, that was like a serious training event that you trained for. I mean, it wasn't a race. It was in no way, shape, form, or fashion a race.
Yeah.
But you probably trained for it, tapered for it, and recovered from that event. So while it's not a race, it's definitely not something that you were like, well, COVID, I'm going to put that off till 2021.
Yeah.
No, you were going to like do it. In fact, probably it was helpful that there was this situation that you had all these breaks from racing to be able to do this.
To be able to spend 2-3 months building for it. Yeah.
And potentially the same thing with a solo Ironman, where you would potentially do something crazy like that by yourself because there's no racing, but you would need to taper a little bit for that.
Yep.
Recover from that effort and probably give it a hard effort when you're actually out there as well. So I think that you and I are definitely different, right? Where it's like me, that doesn't make any sense for me to try to like do an Ironman.
Yeah, like crush yourself when you're trying to recover this year too.
It would be 2 hours slow, and it doesn't make any sense to do it.
Yeah.
But for you, like having that goal there makes sense. So I think that for 2021, yes, we're all training for 2021, but also we might be training for these events that we might put on ourselves. Like you might have a gravel 100-miler in mind.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, there's also something to be said about taking advantage of this time to build fitness that you wouldn't have otherwise gained because you're going to go through a training season. And in that season, it's really hard to find gains. You're doing your absolute best just to hold on to what you did build in the last off season. So you can take advantage of this time to start honing in on a couple of little things like building up fitness, building up power numbers, getting yourself acclimated to bigger volumes that you can sharpen up for an upcoming season such as 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a really good year in the sense that you can kind of see, do I actually want to do this competitively? And that's, and I'm speaking to a lot of the guys that I probably race to because I hear a lot of whining with professional triathletes right now, just so much whining. And it's like nobody cares the race is canceled. Like get over it, man. Like the race is canceled, so what? Like just assume everything's going to be canceled this year. Right. If that is the only reason you were doing it was for the race, then you're really in it for not the right reasons. Like, and that is your job, is to go and get race results. But if you're going to go through like an existential crisis every single time a 2020 race is canceled, then go find an actual job. And that sounds bad, I know, but like really, because this year you didn't race.
Yeah.
So like if you're not working this year, what are you doing? You're putting together these training blocks and then saying, I need to take a mental rest right now, or I need to do this or that. It's like, if you can't find the motivation in this year without the races, then you're probably in the wrong profession and you need to find something else for your own mental health.
Yeah.
which is fine. But like that's kind of like the rough reality of 2020. I think for people who want to be competitive, I think 2020 is an awesome year for people who maybe realized I don't want to be competitive, just want to have fun in this sport and go and do awesome rides. That makes me happy when I see people like, hey, I always planned on doing this ride around, Clark County or Crater Lake ride, or always wanted to do Mount Hood ride, and I never got to do it because I was always just planning on races before. And they're like, finally, this year I had the time to do it, and that's awesome. I think that if you're competitive though, and you can't find the races and the motivation in 2020, you're not going to find it in 2021.
My only argument to that would be, what about that pro athlete, could be cycling or triathlete,
or
that's
running even.
It's like, I'm going to give myself 2 years to do this thing.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, like, you're young, I'm going to give myself a couple years, but then I want to go get a real job later. And then one of those years is
happens
this.
to be COVID.
It's like, I don't, you're going to complain probably, like, this is not a good situation.
Yeah, if COVID was lasting, say, 5 years, very well could. Who knows? Yeah. But let's just say it's going to be a year-long thing.
Yeah.
What's adding 1 more year to 2 years? I mean, if it's if we're saying like, all right, the next 5 years there's no racing, I could see a point there. But if it's just like, all right, we already lost 2020.
Yeah.
Who knows how far into the year it's going to go? But you can come back in 2021. Just tack it on.
It's not a big deal for us in our 40s. It's a big deal for someone. Well, actually, maybe it is a big deal
Olympic
for people
hopefuls.
in 40.
It's big. It's a big deal for Olympic hopefuls. Absolutely.
If you're an Olympian that's 40, and then you're going to be an Olympian that's 41, that's a big difference.
Or you're on your, what is he on his fifth Olympic cycle? Abi
Abdurrahman is that guy. He's actually 43 or something. Yeah.
That's a needle in a haystack.
Different story.
We're talking about
totally. You're right.
Yeah,
but if you think about all the high school athletes, right? Like, it's like, oh, well, that's just one extra year, but it's their senior year or it's their junior year, and it's like, well, then they don't get to do collegiate athletics because they didn't have that extra year of doing, whatever it is. For me, I'm thinking cross country, but it could be any other sport as well. So.
There are some upsides, though. I mean, for somebody like myself, I don't think I would have been able to race this year. My shoulder was killing me through the early season. I had surgery. I had to recover from that. I'm still not ready to go back out and race. And I get a year to recover.
Yeah, I'm the same way where it's like, this wasn't going to be a good year anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
It's good to have the time.
I'm not getting any younger, but you know what? I can use this time to enjoy what I'm doing. And kind of to go back what Evan was saying, I can't speak to the swimming and running because I don't have that love and that passion like you two have, but being able to kind of change gears and just say, I love racing my bike. That's fun. But I'm not going to lie. I like just going out and riding my bike and having adventures a little bit more.
Well, I think
there's just a fun component to that.
I think the gravel biking has been good for you for that purpose.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, go and there's spots that you like to go on the gravel rides, but you're not killing it, right? I mean, you probably are going hard, but like, you're there to have fun and see the sights.
Yep. And you can still get a workout in if you want. We used to go down to the dike before they closed it down and drop the hammer for, 3 or 6 miles, depending upon how hard you want to go. That's a great workout. But if you wanted just to go down there just to cruise and see the Columbia River and ride with some friends and tell stories, you could do that too.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's what I love about riding bikes. I mean, there are so many things that you can draw from that. You can be competitive on Strava. You can put a ton of work into going out and being sharp for a race. You can go out and have an adventure. You can go ride with your family. You can go ride just to burn some calories and have fun. Or you can go ride to decompress. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can take advantage of that. And not for nothing, that has really helped me personally through this time. This time has been difficult on a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And that has been a huge outlet. Love it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're able to do it so soon after your most recent surgery. So it's huge.
What about you, Lance?
I've had a blast chasing Strava segments. I mean, yes, it caused me to crash, but that's besides the point. The fact that I've been fit enough to actually chase segments and be competitive has been super fun for me this summer, even though there hasn't been racing. So that has been a big consolation prize for me, I guess. And some people don't care about that, and that is fantastic. It's just something I really enjoy and I have fun with. So
to each their own. Their own. All right. How about this? What adventures do you guys still have up your sleeve for the rest of the summer? Lance, I'm gonna save you here for a second just because I think you've got probably multiple adventures that I can just ramble on about. Evan, what do you have up your sleeve for the rest of the year?
Just really nothing that's like specifically, I got to do this ride or this run or anything like that. Just kind of right now building for next year is the main goal. that'll kind of last through the rest of the summer, and then probably at some point take a small little rest break and then get back to it, just planning for 2021. But really the solo Ironman would be the only thing that's on my schedule right now.
That and trying to take back Larch, Washington?
Yeah. That would be another one for sure.
Not going to happen.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead, Lance. I know you want to.
Well, the first big adventure actually starts tomorrow. I will be unavailable and out of cell service range and internet service for the next 4 days because I'm going on a whitewater rafting trip with my daughter down Cataract Canyon on the Colorado River. So that was one of the reasons why we came to Utah. My daughter is a professional river guide for Western River Expeditions based out of Moab, Utah, and that's why we're here to do a 4-day river trip with her. Me and my wife are gonna go spend some time with her, so we're really looking forward to that. That's one big thing that we have planned. I will probably head back to Idaho in September, most likely, to do some mountain biking and some gravel riding out there. Beyond that, everything. All plans are soft. I'm hoping that I get out of town a little bit more. I've been very cautious about leaving town because of COVID and because of the quarantine. But Utah and where we're at in Moab they're in like phase 4 right now. So everybody's wearing masks in town and everybody's being careful. But it's a little more open than we are in the Northwest right now.
Nice.
Just makes sense for big cities to be more careful.
Yes.
For sure. How about you, Matt? What adventures do you still have in store for the rest of the summer?
My summer is pretty swamped with work, unfortunately. So there's not going to be a ton of adventures. I want to do some just like basic biking with a new bike, and I want to keep swimming outside as long as it's safe to swim in the water outside. And that's it. I mean, super simple. Nothing crazy.
You guys taking a trip back to Michigan this year? Are you guys going to pass?
That's what we were supposed to do last week. That's where we were supposed to be all last week. But, here we are.
Thanks, COVID.
Thanks, COVID.
Yeah.
For me personally, I don't have too much in the way of like bicycling stuff, just some camping trips. There will probably be a trip down to the Bend Sun River area, which I will for sure want to take a bike down there.
That'll be great.
That's always a nice little trip. And then it's not really summertime, but it's kind of getting into the fall. But I hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm not sure if they're going to do it or not, but the Bike MS thing that I go do every year that I've done for, a decade now.
You think that's going to happen?
It's not canceled yet.
Okay.
So, but I'm not hopeful. I'm pretty sure that's one of those. That
California's pretty rough right now.
It is.
So
yeah, and just mass start events. I mean, there's 3,000 to 4,000 people that do that event every year. So
and you have not missed one for the past 10 years, right?
I've missed one out of the last
because the shoulder.
Because the shoulder.
Crash.
That was the year that I got hit by the car, and
Okay.
I just couldn't do it. So that would have been my 9th, and then last year was my 10th. So this will be my 11th year if it would have been my 11th year if I was able to go. I just don't think that's going to happen. Sorry.
Well, hopefully, they figure out a plan, and they could try to like spread it out or something. It doesn't. Or like, maybe they could do like
Seattle
virtual
to Portland
kind of thing. Where
Seattle to Portland's doing it. You just have to go out and log the miles yourself.
Okay.
And that's kind of.
And if you raise money, that's your main goal anyway. You typically do raise some money with that. And so I think maybe that's one of the things that they could do is you don't have to fly to California, but you need to go do, is it 3 rides?
2
rides. Okay,
150 miles. So
150 miles over 2 days. They could make it cool that way.
Yeah, maybe we'll come out with some. So
we'll see.
All right. Anything else that you guys want to add to this topic?
Nope.
Let's do one last thing. Lance, start us off, bud.
My one last thing. I got nothing. I'm just partying in Utah. Sorry.
Party on.
Oh,
speaking of which, Bill and Ted is coming out with a new movie called I can't remember what it's called, but
that's Face the Music.
Face the Music. Thank you.
I think it's called Face the Music.
I'm glad you know.
Keanu Reeves and who's the other actor?
Doesn't matter.
I'm so pumped to see this.
It's gonna be so
my
good.
gosh, I'm so excited to see that movie.
So
yes.
Lance, that should be your one last thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And rock on,
I'm
Lance.
not looking forward to that. That movie looks terrible.
It's gonna be fantastic.
You look terrible, Lance.
Evan, one last thing.
Oh god, I just had a funny one a second ago. Thanks,
no,
Matt. You just got
Bill
me
and
thinking
Ted.
about Bill and Ted's Excellent. Oh, we just got through watching all 7 Harry Potter movies.
Ooh, wow.
Took us about 3 weeks.
Had you not seen them before?
No, I'd seen him years ago, but it had been a while. You know, I think Daniel Radcliffe, by the time he was acting out a 17-year-old at the end, what was he, like 26?
Don't know.
What is up with these movies that, like, I mean, a mid-20s person should never be acting out a high schooler?
I'm glad that you guys watched that all through the series. That's a good thing for you guys to do.
What is his name? Rupert, whoever asked out Ron. Your
Yeah.
kids would all know this.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Your kids would know
Ethan
every single
probably
second.
will.
Rupert
Yeah.
Grint.
Rupert
Grint
Grint.
or
Thank
something
you.
like that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, he looks like he's like 30 years old by the end.
He's like a
I
giant.
was like, oh, you're a junior in high school? I'm 30.
30. I have grandkids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my kids have kids now. But yeah, they're great. So anybody who needs a break from watching Zwift races, flip on old Harry Potter movies. They're great. Yeah.
Matt, one last thing.
I always have a video to discuss on one last thing. So this past one is actually cycling related because I talk about the Wahoo Element Roam versus the Wahoo Element Bolt, those two computers. So I talk about the differences in those computers because a lot of us do a lot of Garmin things, and I think Garmin's a great company, but it's nice to look on the other side of the coin and just check out other computers. So
saw a few pokes on Strava this weekend.
Oh,
from the people with the Wahoos are like wah 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 to the people with Garmin's.
There were some
like,
very funny memes. Yeah,
didn't
very,
have any
very funny
problems
memes.
uploading
Yeah.
with my
No $10 million ransom over here at Wahoo.
yeah.
That was a good video, Matt.
Thanks.
Do a good job. I like the little figurines that you're using too in the beginning.
They're
of
totally.
the intro
I started.
B-roll.
It was kind of like random or whatever, and then people would mention like, "Oh man, look, there's a little whatever
Lego
Lego
guy.
guy or whatever." And now I'm just like, now it's gonna be in every video.
Are you going-
sneak them in every
Are you
video?
going to like the grocery store or the store and going to the, or are you just raiding your boys?
Do you realize if
Oh
I went,
yeah,
if
he's
I
got
went,
so many Legos over there.
if I went and bought Legos for a video, I mean, it'd be the craziest thing. I have thousands and thousands of Legos. I have a room of our house dedicated to Legos.
Wow.
And
Well-
it's not enough space. It spills out all over our house. There's Legos everywhere.
Yeah. Well, this past one was the Black Panther, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't a Lego figurine. So
Right, it's just a figurine guy.
did you snag that from the boys?
Yeah, oh yeah. That
Okay.
Sam was playing with that, and so there's just
Give me
figurines.
that.
So literally, like, I'll just be like setting up a video, a shot to do a video, and I'll just like grab some toy that's like right there, and I'm like, okay, Black Panther. I do try, like, if it's a smaller item, I might try and grab a smaller toy to put in there.
Sure.
But yeah, there's just. I mean,
You should-
sometimes it'll be like, this table has tons of Legos on it. Let me just push them away and keep one. I mean, it is so much Lego stuff at our house.
My second one last thing should be you should start like a conspiracy video on the whole Garmin situation from Wahoo's point of view. No, you just came out with the Bolt and Rome video. Should be right after that, and we should simulate like the Wahoo was the one that actually hacked them, and then just come up with random conspiracy things.
One whole video.
And we
it's
can wear a
like-
tin hat while we're doing it.
and it
too.
should always be like, Wahoo seems to be uploading just fine.
Yeah.
Did Wahoo
Yeah.
always question?
Oh,
did
yeah.
Wahoo hack Garmin?
Exactly. Were there aliens in Wahoo's,
Gar-
server or whatever? I don't know.
Wahoo's
And then you gotta zoom
budget
the camera
is $10 million
in really close.
richer here. Did they hack Garmin? It's always
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to say that they did,
No,
but
no.
we're always going to question
Ask
it.
the question and then zoom in real quick with zero factual backing, and then just switch topics.
Like, it's just like, yeah, perfect conspiracy theory.
There
Love
we go.
it.
Be a great YouTube video.
Okay,
Love it.
we'll do it.
That would get so many clicks.
It would.
My one last thing. Gonna be gone for 4 days. Well, actually, 3.5.
Yeah.
He's going to the
You
woods.
need a break, man.
It's been a while. It's been a minute.
Need to go in the woods.
Gonna be doing some fishing. What's the
Oh,
over
nice.
under on the number of
Oh,
trout?
this is a good one.
Okay.
Did
I know.
catch
I know that
Lost
you're a
Lake?
very good fisher. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, serviceable.
Yeah, Lost Lake.
No, I
is-
think you're
I
pretty
can
good.
catch the fish.
We've talked. So
Well, in Lost Lake, they'll have some. I
it's
think,
okay.
right
So
now.
so Lost Lake will be pretty.
I think
pretty
it'll be
stocked.
decent, yeah.
Okay. Over under how many days? 4 days.
You want me to throw
4
out the
days.
first number?
Will you be
Just me-
fishing all 4 days?
Just me personally.
Just you, yeah.
Well,
3 days
see.
maybe.
I'm gonna fish for at least 3 days.
Okay, so 3 days.
I'm going to say 12.
12.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good over under. Actually, 12 is a good over
Yeah,
under.
it's a good over under.
I'll go over on 12.
You're going to go
I'll
over?
go under.
Okay.
I'll go
going
over
under.
on 12.
I like to throw out the sacrificial number. And then
How
you guys
about the
just-
winner gets one?
One of the
I
fish?
can do that.
Oh yeah.
I'll bring them home. I'll smoke it for you.
If it's 12,
I'm on it. Yeah.
it has to be 12 for me to win.
12. Okay, I'm going over. Yeah,
Okay.
Matt has
I
to
only got
hit
one.
12. Lance goes
Matt,
under. I go over.
Matt, if I win, you can have my.
Thanks,
Trophy.
Lance.
Oh,
Vegan.
thanks, Lance. God.
Mr. Vegan. So Matt, what was yours?
12.
You're 12. You're even money.
Yeah.
I'm over 12.
All right. Just for reference, last time, there's no motorized boats allowed on that lake, so we will at least one day we'll rent a rowboat for the entire day. And I think between myself and my kids, I was playing deckhand all day. 27 trout in one day.
I like my odds.
But Barrett,
I like my odds.
20 of those were Barrett.
Yeah, maybe.
So we're going to go with 12.
Yeah, my kids will
I
definitely
think removing the young man from the scenario, I still like my odds.
Yeah. He loves fishing and riding. One last thing too. Matt will know about this. The bunker. Have you been to the bunker yet in Camas?
Didn't I talk about it? So it's
I think we talked
the bunker
about this.
is like all the jumps and stuff.
Yeah.
We were there. We talked about it on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my son's coming to me. He's like, "Yeah, I need some full finger gloves. I need some pads."
He's got friends down there now, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, they're down there all the time. And he
Going
leaves
to the bunker.
He reminds me a lot of myself when I was a kid. When I was about that age, I was telling stories about this in past podcasts. When I'd be on my little BMX bike, leave in the morning after breakfast and gonna go ride bikes with my friends. Mom, be home at whenever. Come home and some days just have lunch and then leave again, or sometimes not home until dinner time. That's kind of been him. He leaves in the morning, rides his bike down to see his buddies, and they're riding all over Camas. It's kind of nuts. I mean, he's communicating with us and letting us know where he's going, so we have an idea.
Do you feel like he needs a cell phone?
Kind of.
That's kind of what we were talking about.
We just had that discussion. Yeah, we had that discussion over the weekend.
One of the crickets that just has like 3 numbers attached to it. The little flip ones. He'll be so cool.
It's a low jack machine.
Oh, he'll be so cool by then.
Those kids.
Yeah,
here's a Samsung.
But they've been going to this place called the Bunker, and I know that there are some older kids there that have been really getting into the building process, and there's some other funny shenanigans. Well, not funny shenanigans. Shenanigans that have been going on there, but that's all sorted out.
You've been down there and checked it out, right?
I have not.
Oh, you got to go check it out.
I do.
It's
really
amazing.
They
It's
even
really,
made
really
a
cool.
sign.
Yeah.
That's hung from 2 trees. That
You haven't seen the sign
They made
yet.
a sign. I haven't seen the
it's
sign
on.
yet.
It's on the
I
other
gotta see
side.
this next time.
It's
Okay.
at the top of like Lackmus Lane and Jasmine.
Yeah.
And there's like a little walking trail, and then they climb up the tree. They made this special sign, and they hung it up there, and it says the Bunker.
So
That is so
those are the same
awesome.
woods that back up to my house.
Yeah.
So my trail goes and connects
Yep.
to their stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's so nuts.
It's cool. They've done a good job. Except for they leave trash everywhere.
We'll have a
It
chat.
was like
Yeah.
energy drinks.
It's not your kid that's
Yeah.
doing the trash, but
Well, I can talk to my kid to talk to other kids, and they can be good kids, and they can be responsible.
it's
Yeah.
tough being the youngest kid there and telling other old kids
Keep
not
the
to
bunker
not
Can
to
you
clean.
hear them from your house?
Yeah.
You can?
Oh, yeah.
Are they pretty loud?
No, I mean I like what they're doing. I think they're building cool stuff. I'm really happy for them. I want them to do it.
Is it safe?
No.
No.
No. Well, I mean,
They're pretty gnarly jumps.
yeah,
Has the
they're-
ambulance service
there's
used
some
your,
kid that's going to break his leg.
yeah.
I mean, but that's just that's standard stuff, right?
But there's houses right there that they're going to be able to run up and be like, hey,
I mean,
kid broke his leg.
Some of these jumps are like,
There's like a 10-foot gap. One
they're
of them.
they're like
Yeah.
jumping this table, but like the depth that they're jumping over is also like the depth of this table. I mean, these are big
Yeah.
jumps, and they're good at it. They're good at doing these things.
They're
but
very good.
It's not safe.
Yeah, well,
There's
should
some safer lines though.
Yeah.
Definitely that like Ethan was able to hit pretty well.
maybe we
So-
should get our team together and get everybody who rides mountain bikes to
Go out
roll
there.
in one day and just say, "Hey, what's up, guys? Show us your place." And all being kids.
They'll be-
That'll
pumped.
be when somebody
Yeah.
breaks their leg. It'll be
'Cause they-
Lance,
yeah.
and Lance will
They
break his
are.
leg.
That's
They're
right.
so proud of it too. So
Yeah.
they would love to see a team.
Well, maybe we can go back and recruit some kids for the mountain biking.
The
side of
mountain
our,
biking, yeah.
our juniors
That
team.
would be
That'd
That would
fun.
be cool.
Yeah,
That would be.
cool. One last thing out. Patreon. We didn't talk about the Patreon today. I don't have any news to report. We don't have any new patrons yet. And I'm going to do another drawing next week, and we'll get back
Now's
to our
the time, people.
Yeah, we'll do our Patreon spotlight. So if you enter in or sign up to be a Patreon,
How do they sign up?
they can go to dialpodcast.com. The landing page there will have a big button right there that says Patreon. And click on that, and it'll take you into the Patreon site. You can sign up and see all the different levels to become a Patreon, and we would love it. And then you'll be a part of that raffle drawing that we will do next week for a prize to be announced. I think it might have to do with something that if you have an itch, you do what?
I was thinking it was gonna be like some sort of dialed sock or something. Now I'm trying to figure that out.
Scratch it.
Scratch.
Oh, scratch.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
maybe some
nutrition,
stuff.
scratch.
Oh, nutrition.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That is super nice of all of our current Patreons. We really do appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty awesome. We will also do our Patreon spotlight next week. Didn't get a chance to do a bunch of research this week. I'm just going to be transparent on that. It has been absolutely bonkers down here, but you know what? We will be caught up next week because I'm going to take a little vacation and I'm going to maybe take some time to actually look and see what's going on out there in Strava land. Cool. Anything else from you guys?
No, thanks for letting us do another podcast. It's awesome.
Always
Yeah.
appreciate it. Lance, thank you for taking the time out of your adventure. to jump on Skype and chat with us. We will be back here next week, I hope. That's the plan, at least. And this podcast might actually come out a little bit early. If it does, you're welcome. But worst case scenario, we'll be out on time, and you guys can enjoy it then. We appreciate you listening. Everybody have a great week. Bye for now.